Welcome to Bucharest, Romania. Yes, that's how quick it goes. That's how you can transport yourself all over the world. Welcome to the Billiard Network. My name is Rico Diks, and I'll be narrating you through this incredible challenge match that you're about to watch. Yes, you've done pretty well by clicking this link, because these are two of the true elite pool players in the world. They form part of what I would call a group of 10 players that are truly elite pool players, winning world championships and international titles throughout a number of years. Alright, so a match between Shane, world 9-ball champion Van Boening, and Ko Pin Yi, former world 9 and 10-ball world championships. Bump of fists and the lag for the break, so the ball that ends up closest to the rail where they are shooting from gets to break the balls first. They will be racking the balls for themselves or setting the balls up in the template rack. The template rack that you'll be able to see after Ko's break. Make sure that all 10 balls are placed pretty much perfectly in the rack, all touching each other. And throughout this video, I'll be talking you through positional play, the various breaks that we'll be seeing by these two great players. Of course, the Shane Van Boening famous 10-ball break, always a joy to watch, or usually a joy to watch. Now, always actually, very consistent with his breaking. Alright, so Ko's placement of cue ball, pretty much center of table. Now he's looking to make, what these players are aiming for is the 2 balls below the 1 ball. So in this case, the 9 ball to the left of the 1 ball and the orange 5 ball to the right. Looking to make either one of those into the left and right side pockets respectively. Ooh, wild cue ball by Ko. And that's why those 2 balls never really traveled nicely towards the side pockets. Was able to generate so much speed on the balls that the remaining balls rolled so long that he was able to make a ball on the break. So 2 has disappeared, so he's going from the 1 to the 3. Now these side pockets, I can tell you, because I've played on this table myself, from the angle where the 1 ball is lying, the side pockets are pretty small. Of course, balls that are in the middle of the table, then the side pocket is doable, but from this angle, a challenge. So first challenge for Ko, this 1 ball in the side. Alright, nicely rolled. As you can see in the top right of our screen, we are playing a race to 15 10-ball winner breaks. Loving the winner breaks format, because then you can truly see a potential high gear of a top player, because there are a lot of players that maybe are able to run 1 rack, but to be able to run 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe, few players in the world can muster that kind of sequence of balls without letting your opponent to the table. Alright, so Ko landed straight on the pink 4. Next is the orange 5. Right, so of course naturally the green 6 would like to go into the left side pocket. Could keep his cue ball or bring his cue ball back to where it is now and make the 6 in bottom left corner pocket, but I'm pretty certain he's going to follow it through to the south side of the table, as so. So these two players have traveled to Bucharest, Romania after having taken part in the World Pool Masters Invitational Tournament in Gibraltar. Neither player able to win that tournament, and now they're about to compete in the Predator Bucharest Open 9-ball Championships 2022. They've decided to come here a few days early, of course also not having been able to win the tournament Gave him a little bit of extra time. And they're here in this challenge match purely to see and test their skills against one of their most skilled opponents. So Ko probably stun his cue ball forward ever so slightly so he can roll the 9 in after and get position on the 10 ball. So this is a match with a lot of honor and pride at stake. And what better training than to train against one of your strongest colleagues and put you in good stead for the upcoming tournament or tournaments. So we're fast forwarding the racking and potential long thinking times to give you pure pool playing action. How's that? Alright, so Ko with the exact same cue ball placement wants to hit his 1 ball fuller. Look at the green and the brown. Hello. Both of them disappeared into the pocket also because he hit his cue ball into the 1 ball, so straight and direct. Now, thing of note here on the right side of the table, the orange 5, pink 4. Does the 4 ball go into the side pocket? If it does, or into the corner, then no problem at all, but doesn't seem like it. Now he could bank his 1 ball into the right side pocket. And he would love to graze the 5 ball along the way in, because then that would open up the cluster. So calling the 1 ball, right side pocket. Of course needs to play position with his cue ball on the blue too as well, so multiple tasks here at the same time. Ooh, missed the bank short. Okay, so 10 ball, call shot game, unlike 9 ball. You have to call your pocket unless it's very obvious. If the ball goes into a different pocket, your opponent comes to the table, but your opponent has the option. So had Shane been snookered in this situation, he would have been able to give the table situation back to Ko to shoot on. But of course with this 2 ball straight in, Shane is gonna nicely try to run out this rack. Now he would like an angle on the red 3 to open up that cluster. Either where, kind of where the 8 ball is where he would love to be. That's not easy to do, to either bump the 8 or draw your cue ball back to where it is now. It's very difficult to draw your cue ball back, let's say a designated 5 inches, 10 inches. That's a good drill for anybody at home to practice. You draw strokes at this distance between cue ball and object ball. Try to draw a cue ball specific diamond length back, let's say. Alright, so Shane's cue ball drifted further than he envisioned. Alright, what could he do now? Okay, so he's calling it at top right corner pocket. But actually he's going to draw his cue ball into the cluster, I'd imagine. Open up the cluster, leave his cue ball snookered, and send his 3 ball to the top side of the table, right side. Alright, open up the cluster. Kind of doesn't want to make the 3 ball now, because the pink 4 would be unavailable to him. Alright, so could have been a tap of appreciation on the table by Ko, but actually he was calling the pocket for the red 3. You may have seen. Alright, so coming off of 2 rails, just deciding, visualizing. Of course, doesn't want to come wide, doesn't want to come short. So just visualizing his cue ball traveling over that 2 rail path, and then deciding your position on the first rail you want to hit the cue ball into, and then with a, half a tip, 1 tip of right spin to make your cue ball travel naturally. Just came wide off of that 3rd rail. Could have made it off of 3 rails, or hit it at least. Alright, ball in the hand for Shane in game number 2. It'll be interesting to see these 2 players and the way they run out racks. Shane, of course, with his kind of like flowing big pumping strokes, fluent playing style. In my opinion, Shane the true heir to kind of Earl Strickland run-out ability of the rotation games. You know, nice and fluent, not shying away from any big shots where he needs to elevate his cue, draw his cue ball back a table length or a table and a half. Able to generate a lot of spin with it out of his cue ball. Alright, so we're going to have a 1-all scoreline here. Now you would do well to have a look at the Billiard Network library. We have a vast array of incredible pool matches for you from all over the world, between all kinds of styles of players, all kinds of formats. We even have a specific section with pool videos narrated by the world famous Earl the Pearl Strickland. Well received videos they are, and I can implore you to have a look at those. Very enjoyable, and you get to learn something from one of the most famous pool players ever to pick up a cue. Now Shane a little bit unhappy with his current position. Of course his cue ball drifted down after the break a little bit too much. Now does he have a shot on this blue too? Of course then needs to maneuver his cue ball to play position on the pink 4. Cue ball elevation here, or cue elevation. So may have even jumped this cue ball over the orange 5 a little bit, if that was a little bit in the way. So a very nice opening shot by Shane. Of course a little bit more angle on the 4 ball than he would have loved. Still very workable. The orange 5 in the center of the table. So I imagine him rolling this 4 ball in, and his cue ball will drift in between the orange and brown for position on the 5 ball. As you can see, Shane playing with a carbon shaft, Co playing with a wooden shaft. So fairly straight in on this 7 ball, which means his cue ball is not really maneuverable that easily to the left or right. Alright. Hard stun shot by Shane, creating that little bit of angle required. A bit of bottom left spin on his cue ball here for position on the yellow 9 ball. And then it will be Shane taking over the lead. So yeah, race to 15, winner breaks. One little mistake could cost you this and maybe more racks. So that kick on the 3 ball by Co, that he missed the 3 ball completely. Let's see, besides this game, what else it may cost him. Alright, so we're fast forwarding through the racking and thinking times. Lovely, pure pool playing action. And isn't it nice that by clicking on a little link, you can transport yourself to a different city of the world, and then all of a sudden be watching these two true elite pool players. The Shane break. Here we go. Alright, so made one of the side pocket balls below the 1. Two balls down on the break. Blue ball is the first ball to shoot at. Red ball is next. Now you can either spin his cue ball with right spin to kind of thread it around the black 8, or you can play it with a more center ball and play position 3 rails. So top rail, side rail, bottom rail, and then back up for the red 3. 1, 2, 3. It's like a cue ball symphony. Alright, so with one shot, a good break shot and one good positional shot on his opening 2 ball, that wasn't so straightforward as you saw, all of a sudden Shane finds himself in ideal line to run out the rest of this rack. Now I can tell you the way rotation usually works. In this situation you can see that the pink 4 and the next orange 5 are basically a connect the dots, meaning if you would leave your object ball where the pink is now, you'd have position on the 5. Likewise, if you'd leave the cue ball where the orange is, you kind of have position on the green 6. Now in those kind of cases you would like to have about 0 to 20 degree angle on your pot. And again, from the green 6 to the black 8, the green 6 represents position on the black 8, then keep minimal to no angle on your cue ball. But if you need to, if your next object ball, like the 9 is to the 8, is not in line with the 8 ball at all, then you would like to keep about 20 to 40 degree angle on the pot you're currently playing, so that your cue ball is maneuverable but the pot is still very doable. So Shane kept a little bit too little angle here, so needs to stun his cue ball over to the left, so more force required, meaning more accuracy is required technically and into the pocket. And now we're back to a connect the dots situation, because the 9 kind of represents position on the 10 ball, so just a minimal angle required so he can stun his cue ball out of the rail. Because every player would love to not be bridging with his cue ball stuck on the rail, because then you can only kind of see 30% of the cue ball while you're aiming. You know, the top side of the cue ball. Alright, beautiful rack by Shane, good opening shot. Leads 3-1, it goes like that. So the second balls they're aiming for here is the red 3 and the blue 2. One or both of those might travel 4 rails around the table and then come back into these bottom left and right corner pockets. Watch those 2 balls. So both traveled the first 2 rails, then got kissed, so that can happen. But the 3 ball was able to travel all 4 rails and seek gravity in the pocket bottom left. Alright, so Shane made 1 ball on the break. Needs to go from the yellow 1 to the blue 2. But of course, making the yellow into the side is going to make his cue ball travel straight down to us. So we'd have to come back up table and somewhere near the white breaking line that you see on the north side of the table for position on the 2. So I think that's what he's going for. Ooh. Miss by Shane. 1 ball in an uncalled pocket, so option to co. Could give the table back to Shane if he doesn't like it, but I can tell you he won't, because this is either too much of a chance on a pot or to play safe. So I think Ko is looking at if he cuts the 2 ball in, his cue ball will run into the left side rail, and then he would like to hit the 9 ball full ball to stop his cue ball where the 9 ball is. That would give him position on the pink 4, of course. Alright, so he's getting down and just resetting himself. Ooh, slightly undercut that 2 ball. That's also why his cue ball hit the side rail but then traveled wide of hitting the 9 ball. So Shane with an easy starter. Cue ball will travel into the top rail and straight back out, which would give him position on the pink 4. So cue ball speed and thickness on the 2 is what's required here. Alright, so I made his 2 ball a little bit on the thin side, meaning there was more cue ball speed left than he envisioned. That's why his cue ball traveled up further than he would have liked. Of course, Shane, coming off of that famous World 9-Ball Championship win in Milton Keynes. Whoa, second Shane miss in one rack. I mean, that's a rare thing to see. 2 very doable pots, and Shane pretty disgusted with himself as he returns to the chair. Alright, so Ko didn't expect to come back to the table this quick. So probably wants to draw his cue ball back just to avoid being snookered on the brown 7, behind the brown 7. And then these balls are pretty inviting to run out. Yeah, so Shane finally managed to win that elusive World 9-Ball Championships. And of course, there had been talk about that's the only title Shane hasn't won. But no matter how good you are, it's, you know, you may still not find yourself in a position where you're able to win it, because there's so much pool quality throughout the world, with so many continents these days producing top players. Of course, the Americans had first dibs at world champions, you know, with Earl Strickland, Nick Varner, Jim Rempe, Buddy Hall, you know, all the pool greats. And then came the Filipinos, Japanese world-class players, European players came into the world-class pool playing sphere. And these days, you know, there's players from Hong Kong, Philippines, Taiwan, China, all throughout Europe. I mean, the game truly has a global reach. Now, Coda's 10 ball take us back to a 2-3 scoreline. Fast forward to game number 6. We're playing on a beautiful gold crown, Brunswick Gold Crown 5 here. Amazing playability. I myself have the Gold Crown 4 model, which is pretty amazing. That's what the World 9-Ball Championships in Cardiff, etc. were played on. Don't know if you remember those amazing tables. Brunswick in general, one of the original great tables. Alright, so Ko made a ball on the break. No ideal position on the 1 ball. What do we see here? So position from the 1 to the 2. He could bank. Could bank the 1. And therewith kind of stop his cue ball thereabouts for position on the 2. Could play safe. Cut the 1 ball about, you know, quarter ball on the left side, and then drift his cue ball into the left side rail behind the red ball, orange ball. That's an option. Alright, so that's what he went for in the end. He did get the snooker, but Shane is still able to kick off of that top rail. So we'll send his cue ball as close as he can past the red 3, brown 7, and then played with a lot of right spin. His cue ball will turn right after hitting the top rail. Alright, would have liked to have hit that 1 ball thicker. Okay, so I guess the safety paid off for Ko. Now the only thing is, his cue ball, after making it in the side, if he decides to make it in the side, will come towards us, and he needs to go the other direction because the 2 balls all the way up table. Could decide to shoot the 1 ball in the bottom right corner pocket. Unusual pocket for it, of course, but then his cue ball would turn left after that, hitting the 1 ball, and that would be quite handy for position. Now he could make it in the side and stun his cue ball with about a center ball hit straight down in between the 10 ball and the red 3, and then travel back up table. I think that's about the only route I can see. Alright, so if you want your cue ball to turn directly to the right after impact with your object ball, you want to hit a center ball. So that's what he did there. Center ball and then with a bit of right spin. So about a 3 o'clock tip position. That cue ball had a lot of spin. Even on the off of the 3rd rail, it still had spin left. That's pretty incredible. Now, could decide to try to replace the 2 ball with the cue ball and send the 2 ball 2 rails behind the brown 7, blue 10. Could cut the 2 ball as he's doing now, as thin as he can on the left side, and try to come off 2-3 rails behind the 8-9 ball, maybe even further than behind the orange and red again. And this might be an in-between result here. Yeah, so too hard for cover behind the black, too soft for cover behind the orange. He was going for cover behind the black. Still a lot of distance, no pot available for Shane. So what would Shane do here? Think along with us, our fellow pool fans. Alright, hit more of the 2 ball than he wanted, because that 2 ball came up further than he would have wanted. Left cut on the 2 ball, but no pocket available really. And this is difficult, because in hitting the 2 it's hard to avoid the 9, and then it's kind of hard to know where your cue ball is going to go exactly. And of course both balls are traveling to the north side of the table, and how do you get a snooker there, or how do you get distance after that happens? Interesting. Let's see what a world-class player comes up with. Ooh. I think he wanted to send blue 2 towards the green 6 more, either to create a cluster, but at least to not leave a pot. As things stand, that's not really how it panned out. Alright, so can drift his cue ball straight in between the 10 ball and 3 ball, and then come back up for position on the 3. Nice. So back in a run out mood. As an option here, his cue ball kind of travels, if he follows it through, straight towards us to the bottom rail, and then has to choose either to come back up to the left side of the table or to the right side of the table. But on both sides there are balls not to become snookered by, of course. So probably comes in between the orange 5 and the blue 10. Oh, gave it a lot more spin. Ah, interesting. Nice option there by Shane. A lot of top left spin. And now has a natural 1-2 rail position onto the 6 ball. Alright, so here we are with the usual position. Now didn't want to be straight, because then his cue ball would be on the rail for his shot on the 7. And this way, position is automatic, it's for free. Ooh, is it? too high of a tip position by Shane. Not in his aiming process, but in his execution process. His cue ball was hit too high. That's why it rolled further too far. Now in making this 7 balls, cue ball is going to go wild. Probably going to go into the 9 ball here, I can predict. That's a pretty good result. Pretty good recovery there, but dicing with potential dangers there. Doesn't want to be doing that on every shot. Yeah, just a treat for us to be able to watch 2 of the very best pool players in the world playing a 10-ball rotation game here. Winner breaks, potentially seeing multiple racks run. Beautiful material, beautiful table. Simonis cloth, Aramith balls. I mean, you know, doesn't really get better than this. So Shane looking for a ball on the break. Well, don't worry about that. I mean, when does Shane break dry? When does Shane break dry? Exhibit A. Alright, this is a rare artifact here. Maybe we should frame this. A dry 10-ball break by Shane. Didn't hit that cue ball again with the right tip position. Had too much topspin. And again, that has an effect on how the balls leave the racked area and how they travel directly. And never a ball got really close to finding gravity. So Ko has a 4-10 cluster to solve, though. I don't think that 4-ball goes into the bottom right corner pocket. That's something to work towards for him. Of course, first things first, position on the blue 2. Can't avoid hitting the 6. Might want to just drop it in and leave his cue ball somewhere there. Alright. So unsure if that 4-10 needs to be opened up or if he can make the 4 somewhere. If there's a cluster to open up, he now wants, well, you can choose various angles on the red 3 since it's so close. It can almost be straight and stun draw it into the cluster. In this case, if there is a cluster to solve. Okay, so the 4-ball does seem to go. So I don't think he has to open up this cluster. Or does he? It's unclear, pool fans. Alright, so the 4 is available. Now looking ahead, this is looking promising. Of course, needs to avoid the snooker behind the black ball. Wants to draw his cue ball out a little bit, back a little bit. Now again, the 5 represents position on the 6, so not much angle required, as he duly showed us there. And the 6 kind of represents automatic position on the brown 7, so not much angle required there either. Because if you keep a lot of angle on the 6 ball, you'd have to travel away from the desired position and back into it. Now wants to draw his cue ball towards the brown 7 to get closer to his work, but wants to keep his cue ball off the left side rail, so he can roll it forward for position on the 8 ball on the right side. But now wants to be pretty straight, or a bit south of the straight position on the black ball. Okay, never mind. Decided to stun it out. So Ko looking to reduced the deficit by 1. Was in danger of going 3 racks behind, and now we'll only be trailing 1 rack pretty soon. So race to 15, winner breaks 10 ball between 2 true elite pool players of this world. I'm gonna see the Copenhagen break, probably with a identical cue ball position as he has been adopting. Again, looking to make the orange 5 left side, pink right side pocket, or the 2 and the 3. Try to follow the 2 and the 3 around the table. Well, crossed. Neither got... Ooh, both got kissed in the end. But they were en route to the bottom left and right corner pockets. Alright, so made a ball on the break. He's got a cut on the 1. Anytime you have a 45-degree cut or more angle, like so. So 45-degree or more, 45-degree to about a 85-degree angle cut, and your cue ball will always travel straight into the rail and straight back out. And you can use that in this case, but the angle on the to make the 1 ball, his cue ball will have some speed left. Of course, it doesn't. Speed doesn't get taken away because he's hardly hitting the 1 ball, but still needs to give the 1 ball particular speed to find the left corner pocket. So his cue ball will automatically come in between the 2 blue balls, and then needs to come back out. Now that's some nice navigation there. Beautiful. Okay, so a bit straight. So again, that means your cue ball is only maneuverable straight forward or straight back, unless you stun it incredibly hard. And that's less ideal for these players, because in rotation pool, your next ball is usually, or often, you know, not placed such that you can get position by rolling your cue ball straight forward or straight back. So after the red 3 has to go to the orange 5. So it has to keep that in mind as well. So straight in on the 3, or yeah, I guess anywhere to the left of the brown and red ball will do. Alright, nice. What a nice smooth draw shot by Ko there. Again, straight in, so not easily maneuverable cue ball, or not a flexible cue ball, let's say. You can easily draw it straight back or follow it straight forward. But as you can maybe envision, it's not really ideal position then there, because after the orange 5, he needs to maneuver his cue ball for position on the green 6. Now for position on the green 6, you don't have to be straight in on the green. He will, if I can predict the future, you might even keep position on the green 6 center table. So you will take the cut on the 6, because bringing his cue ball there from after shooting the orange is not that difficult. Anyway, let's see his solution here. Yep, tiny angle on the 5 ball. Exactly, so now he accepts he doesn't have to come back all the way to the south side of the table for position on the 6. He can have a very doable pot if he leaves his cue ball center table. Again now, the angle on the pot is more than 45 degrees, so his cue ball is going to travel straight into the rail and straight out. Now of course that would bump him into the brown 7, so needs to come either side of that, because again the pot is so thin, his cue ball is going to be traveling, going to keep a lot of speed after the impact. Right, nice. Very good shot there. A with the direction and B with the speed, because now left himself a nice angle on the brown 7 to maneuver his cue ball to the left after impact for position on the black 8 in either of these bottom left and right corner pockets. Careful now. As you can see, a little bow of the head there. Although that's actually a pretty acceptable angle on the 8 ball. Could forward his cue ball with top left spin, most likely. Yeah, it's all not ideal. So not in dead punch stroke, either one of these players. But again, you know, they travel, they play tournaments, they play on different materials. Kind of have to just find comfort as well. It's not easy to always be at your best, especially playing this very difficult run-out 10-ball game. Okay, so after 8 games, nothing to separate the two. Alright, so again, let's check out the red ball and the blue ball, traveling 4 rails around the table and hopefully into the same pocket that they're near currently. Alright, going, blue ball's going. Okay, so both got kissed, but as I said before, primarily they're trying to make the 2 balls that are racked below the 1. But it's interesting to see how those 2 balls kind of always travel 4 rails around the table. And then that's one of their regular pockets as well. It's pretty crazy to think that a 4-rail shot is kind of like a regular occurrence. Combination on the 3. Now this is a rack to get a nice rhythm with. Alright, shift switching hands. Go a very capable left-handed player. Just to bring his cue ball back to the center of the table. So the only angles, or the only balls that he will keep more angle on, will be the green 6 and the brown 7. Because of course from the green 6 it needs to travel north to the brown 7. And after the brown 7 it needs to travel far south. So there, with those 2 shots, like now, he will keep more angle. And with the rest he will keep less angle. Alright, so could Ko take his second lead of the match. So this challenge match taking place at the IDM Pool Club in Bucharest, Romania. A club quickly gaining a reputation as one of the best clubs in Europe, at least, with 40 Brunswick Gold Crown 4s available. Incredibly high ceilings. It's got a bowling alley next to it, a fitness center, restaurant. It really is a great place to be on the outskirts of the center of Bucharest. Okay, so let's look at the 2 balls racked below the 1. Will the brown ball find gravity, as Shane is sportsmanlike to change Ko's score? That's very nice of him. Alright, neither of those 2 side pocket balls came kind of near. Alright, dry break, unbelievable, really. Don't see that often. Yeah, so hit the 1 ball nicely full on, but it's more than a speed and a tip position on the cue ball that is unfavorable. Often with 10 ball and 8 ball breaks, it's better to have a bit of backspin. It's better to have excess backspin on your cue ball. Then balls seem to travel to pockets easier than with extra topspin is never a good thing. So Shane with a lock-up safety here. Yeah, he's pretty stuck against that 5 ball, meaning that his 1 rail kick might not be executable. So I don't think he's able to travel to either left or right rail to thereafter hit the one ball. I will probably have to come off 2 rails. For the rest of this rack, not many conundrums. The 4-8 needs a little bit of attention, but that combination is almost unmissable. So it's all for the battle of the one ball that will probably decide the fate of this rack. Oh, good hit there. Did he call? Ooh. That would have been a nice shot if he had called that. Alright, so Ko hit the ball, but made it in an uncalled pocket, so Shane could give position back, because position from the 2 to the 3 needs screw back on his cue ball, but that's not easy to do with your cue ball stuck on that rail. You need a lot of elevation in this case to be able to apply the backspin. Now Shane, very capable. I think the 8 ball is also blocking part of the pocket. Wow. I mean, he's not going to give this position back, is he? That'd be most unusual to have a straight in shot and then still give the position on the table back. Alright, so Shane opting for the bank, because then his cue ball, ooh, elevation still to avoid the double kiss. Might even get a safety out of it if he misses. Yeah, so he opted for, of course, a very difficult looking shot, but I think still he had the most chance of a good result with that option. Could have made it. Of course, then his cue ball would have ended up in a slightly different position than it is now, and probably would have traveled further down the table for position on the 3. Anyway, back to the current situation. What will Ko do? What would you do? Could try to follow his cue ball behind the pink 4, but to try to get your cue ball behind the pink 4, your cue ball or your 2 ball will need particular speed and might come back up table, so the snooker might not happen then. Yeah, could cut the 2 ball thin on our left side and thread the cue ball back up table to where he is now. Yeah, that's what he opted for. And didn't get cover. What can Shane do? No attack here. The easiest option sometimes in this situation is to split the balls, meaning hitting the 2 ball in this case on the right side, half ball, sending the 2 ball to the left rail somewhere near the racking template, and the cue ball towards the pink. That would require the least skill, because you can hit it kind of half ball, 2/3 of a ball, and still get the same result. Although Shane was looking at something different. Now, what would you do here? Players, fans? Also, we'd love to hear your comments. Who would you like to see featured in the Billiard Network library of world-class pool matches? Who do you think we should feature, or ask us if there is a match between 2 players that we may have that you would love to see? Nice shot by Shane, but doesn't want to make it. Oh. Yeah, that was the danger. He knew he was sending his 2 ball to that corner of the table. I mean, you know, there might be 10 times you play this shot and 6 or 7 times the 2 ball might not drop. But that is where he sent it, so that he was aware of the danger. Ooh, a bit of a sloppy swerve there by Shane. Almost played that shot in disgust. I'm not happy with his current form. And Shane's such a beautiful competitive character, whether it's, you know, whether it's a world championship, whether it's a local tournament, whether it's a challenge match like this, he's just fiercely competitive, and it's really a beautiful thing to see. Alright, so slow rolling this combo to make sure his 4 replaces the 8 and doesn't travel much further, but then we'll probably have to draw his cue ball back to the orange 5. That would be, you'd imagine, the key shot of this rack. But this as well then. So how would you like to keep position on that 4? Because the 4 can remain on the rail. You can roll it a bit harder, leave it over the pocket. See, now there's a lot more options. You don't have to screw back. You can send your cue ball around the table. Only thing to avoid is a yellow 9. That could be a big ball coming off that second rail. And of course the top right corner pocket, you don't want to go in there. That looks pretty good speed-wise and direction-wise. Nice, so back in line for Ko and looking to take a 6-4 lead in our race to 15. So this is a challenge match prior to the 2022 Bucharest Open 9-ball championships. Previous winners you can see on the right side of your screen on that board there. Niels Feyen, twice a winner. Wojtek Szewczak, the current world 10-ball champion, winning it in 2018. And the gentleman that you cannot see currently is Fedor Gorst, who won it in the last edition, 2019. And sadly, it wasn't able to be held because of a quite familiar pandemic. Everybody suffered in 2020 and 2021, but here we are, 2022. Whenever you're watching this, I mean, you might be watching this video in 2077, who knows? Right, 10 ball down, 6-4 lead, Ko Pin-yi. Also let us know from which country you're watching this video. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what situation you're in that you're watching this video. You know, you might be at work and not getting much work done. You might be late night in bed. You might be on a date and actually more interested in this link you just clicked on. Let us know. We'd love to hear your current situation from which you are watching this incredible challenge match between 2 of the world's elite. I mean, who would you consider truly elite in the world of pool? If I would say currently, I would say Yin Lung Chang. I would say this gentleman here, Ko Pin-yi, Shane Van Boening. I would say Dennis Orcolo. Who else is in that bracket? I guess tournament pool-wise, of course, Albin Ocean, Fedor Gorst. 2 players who in the last few years have really displayed a high level of consistency as well. Who else is in that true elite list of pool players? Not many, I would say. A lot of very good players, not many truly great players. Alright, so Shane, with a few mistakes in his last few innings at the table. Disgusted, as you can see there. I'm kind of letting Ko, giving Ko a few easy opportunities. Of course, he could have missed these kick shots, the last 2, either way, but it seemed like his effort was unusually low. So in this rack, what is there to decipher? Cue ball needs to travel from the green 6 to the brown 7, so more angle probably required on those shots. But besides that, so I might even apply right spin to his cue ball and play the pink 4 in the bottom right corner pocket and not even play the 4 in the side pocket. Just keep things simple. See, because that's the position he was kind of given for free. And why give away position that you already have to try to come somewhere better? That's also a pretty valuable golden rule in pool. here can choose to leave his cue ball, draw it back ever so slightly. He would be able to thread it in between the 8 ball and 10 ball. You can also come down all the way to the bottom rail and would still have the required angle to work with if he leaves his cue ball pretty much flat on this bottom short rail. Nice. So wants about a 40-degree angle on the 7 ball either way, but rather a high angle because that's more workable for position to the 8. Oh, travel cue ball, so left himself way too much angle here. And now in making the brown 7, speed required to do that, and his cue ball not losing a lot of speed on impact, won't be able to hold his cue ball off a 1 rail and needs to do some more traveling. So more accuracy, more talent required than he planned for. Let's see how he does. Yeah, but now his cue ball needs to travel up and it won't. Also because he made the 7 ball but hit it thicker than he envisioned, so his cue ball lost more speed. So this rack, which looked to be going swimmingly, turns out to be a challenge. So this 8 ball, his cue ball naturally would come 2 rails above the right side pocket, but then it still wouldn't have position, so 2 rails, and then probably for the 9 ball in this bottom left corner pocket that he's shooting the 8 ball in. Yeah. It's a pretty nice recovery, even though he's got a bit more angle on the 9, but he's nice and close to his work. So should be able to run out this rack for a 7-4 lead. It's a pretty good result, really, with not having hit top speed yet. Alright, that's not my singing voice, that's my lovely cat Dora, who's becoming a little bit hungry. Okay, so Ko breaking us off, placing his cue ball a little bit further to the left or to the right from where we're looking. As you can see, he used to be almost dead center, but has failed to make the 2 balls in the side pocket. So, and again, those two balls missing and not even coming close in kind of 10 ball break terms. Making the 1 and the 2 though, and this 3 ball can only hit about a quarter of it. So I think he's going to try to send the 3 ball hopefully below these 4 balls in the middle of the table. Yeah, so wants to send the 3 ball just above the right side pocket, but then the 7 balls could form a big obstacle to try to find cover. That's pretty weak, I'd say. Still, didn't give up the pot. And what would you do here if you can't pot a ball and you want to play safe? I mean, you can bank the 3. I mean, that's an attacking option into the top right corner pocket. Oh, it's a beautiful shot there. So knew is with that contact, his cue ball would, or his 3 ball would hit the 5 and then travel straight down, and then drifted his cue ball behind the 7. That was a pretty nice creative option there. Now Ko wants to come off of 2 rails, and why not come off of just the left side rail? Well, after impact you could make the 3 bottom right, but then both balls are kind of traveling the way he's aiming now. Both balls would be traveling in the same direction. I mean, I think he is opting for the 1 rail option. I think he will hit it at speed though, so that should he not make it, which, you know, there are a lot of ways to hit this 3-ball and not make it. To get away with it, both balls need separation. Oh, both traveling the same direction. Ooh, ball in hand for Shane. Pretty timely ball in hand for Shane to try to get back into a run out kind of mood, because it's been a while. So 4 represents position on the 6, 5 gives you automatic position on the 6, sorry, 4 gives you position on the 5, 5 gives you automatic position on the 6, so in those instances pretty straight in position required. I can opt to shoot the 6 in the side or in the top left. Right, so this can have various angles on the 7-ball to get back up table for the 8-ball. I think it will stun his cue ball with it. Just a tip below center, straight towards the 7, or not at all. That will do just fine, I think. If he can draw his cue ball just north of the right side pocket and hit that rail, then he would have pretty ideal position. As you can see, more audience taking their seat above the players there. I mean, this is a treat for these Romanian regulars here at the IDM club. Yeah, it's not, well, it's probably only once a year that you'd see players of this level in, well, in any club in the world, and so this is a pretty special situation here. And here in Romania, throughout this 9-ball championships that would have followed this challenge match, you know, a lot of pool fans here and just people that really enjoy their pool. And there won't be many better matchups in the world currently than this one right here on the Billiard Network. We're glad that you're joining us in watching this match, whether it is 2022 or 2099 when you're watching this. We're glad you're joining us and enjoying this clash between these two pool heavyweights. Alright, Shane takes it back to a 7-5 deficit. Let's see what he does on the break. So he had a dry break last time around. Looking for the pink 4 in the left side pocket, yellow 9-ball in the right side pocket, first and foremost. See, too much topspin on his cue, and that's on his cue ball, and that's why both balls didn't find gravity in the side pocket. Did make a wild ball, and that 1 ball did travel regularly towards the corner pocket. Now, can he see any of it, or is the 10-ball in the way? Oh, that is not great. So hard to jump at this close distance between your obstructing ball. So Shane opting for the 5-ball in the side, so he's trying to hit the north side of the blue ball, and that is the likely side to hit coming off of this right side rail. So what he's doing here, distance between the 2-ball and the rail he's coming off of, and then his finger that he's pointing now, that direction, is where he wants to send his cue ball. So it's called the mirror system. We'll try to get more clarity on that, because that was a weird instance, wasn't it? You might know about it already. Alright, so looking for a hit on the 2 ball. Ultimately would love to make the 5 ball that he called. Ooh. Yeah, so didn't call the 2. Go back to the table. No pot on the 3. No 10 ball combination either. This is a hard safety. If both balls, if the cue ball and object ball are kind of in line with the pocket, it's usually not that easy to play safe. Huh, this is interesting. Bank the 10. So bank the 3-10 combo. I mean, what would you do here? So a pretty pivotal moment. Well, any game would be, really, but you know, it's either an 8-5 lead for Ko and getting back his 3-game lead, or Shane is gonna get closer and closer to leveling up this game. Race to 15, remember? Or race to 17. So it's a nice, decent, very decent race length. You know, no player able to win it by just playing well for, you know, 15-20 minutes. You need to outplay your opponent for quite a few racks to be able to win this challenge match. And these two players really motivated. I mean, anytime you come up against one of your strongest adversaries, it's motivates you, and these two players really awake to this challenge. So I think Ko's calling the 3-10 bank. I mean, what else are you going to do? And that way he could try to get his cue ball back up table for any kind of snookering possibility. The 3 might actually come in the way of the 10 ball coming off the rail. Ooh, nice. Very good hit there. Oh yeah, but of course I forgot all about it. I thought that was a game win. In 10 ball, combination doesn't make you win the game. It continues. 10 ball comes back up and you continue your run out from there. So, a bit of an angle on the 3 ball, so his cue ball is going to come straight back up table. I'm not sure if he can hold it center table for position on the pink 4. Or he's going to draw it back with bottom right off of 2 rails. So he had too much angle, so needs to kind of slow his cue ball down, and he did that by traveling over 2 rails. Right. So back in ideal line. So yeah, who's your truly elite field of pool players? It'd be good to see in the comments. So as I mentioned before, this gentleman here, Ko, Shane Van Boening, Yinlung Chang. Of course I forgot to mention Joshua Filler, Jason Shaw, Dennis Orcolo, Albin Ocean. I might be forgetting 1 or 2. But, you know, those are truly elite level players in my eyes, and in many people's eyes, over the last 4 or 5 years or so. Of course, quite a few young pretenders coming up from Eastern European countries, from Asian countries. Okie dokie, 8-5 lead for Ko Pin Yi. Now needs to tidy up his breaking a little bit, not necessarily the hit on the one ball, but more his tip position. So both players have been having too much topspin on their cue ball, and that made the, in this case, the green and the brown ball not find the side pocket. So again, Ko hitting both those balls rack below the one. They're hitting going north of the side pocket, so needs to adjust that because now he's reliant on a wild ball to go in. Alright, so he's got a shot on the one ball. Cue ball will travel to the left and right across the table. And if he leaves it anywhere on the breaking line on the right side, then that would give him position on the 2. If he leaves it where it is now on the blue 2, that would work, but it's not easy to do with the angle he's facing on the one ball. It's interesting because he is definitely going to attack, you would imagine, right? Now he's looking at rolling the one ball in and threading his cue ball in between the brown 7 and yellow 9. Yeah, I think that's the last one he's looking at. So with bottom right spin, and leaving his cue ball on the right side of the breaking line. That would also give him cover in most cases, you'd imagine, if he misses the one ball. So this match, as we see Ko executing a nice one ball, and he's got a shot on the 2. This match took place on Wednesday the 11th of May 2022. I mean, when are you watching this currently? It might be the year 2110, or a little bit earlier than that. But glad you're watching this with us here on the Billiard Network. We're always looking to bring you the best pool matches between the best players all over the world in the various formats and disciplines. This being the 10-ball variant. Now this is looking pretty ideal here. Orange gives automatic position on the green 6. You know, and the 7, 8, 9 are nicely placed together, so should form no obstacle for Ko to run this out and take a potential 9-5 lead, which would be pretty big. That would mean that he's winning 2/3 of the games almost, which is not easy to do with players of Alright, so we haven't seen as much of the Shane breaking and run out power as you may have imagined by now. I mean, you know, we're almost an hour into this match. Ko with this stretched out 10 ball for a 9-5 lead. Again, those 2 balls right below the 1, coming too far north to the side pocket, so really something to adjust, or else that might bring him in danger of not being able to make balls on the break, as displayed right here. I mean, a dry 10-ball break with a template rack is not something you'd see often, and you know, you'd make balls at least 3 out of the 4 breaks or something. Alright, so Shane playing safe, cue ball behind. Alright, was maybe even trying to bank the one and didn't get cover. showed too much of the one ball to Ko. Not easy to get safe off this one ball. Could bank it towards the 9 if he's able to hit that much of the one ball. Because of course he's definitely not able to hit the right side of the one ball. And cutting it on the left side of the one ball is going to send the one to the top right corner pocket, and it's not going to be easy to make your cue ball find cover anywhere behind the brown 7 or 10 ball. So, and he's not able to kick behind the one ball and kick and stick, so to say, to hit the top rail first with right spin, leave his cue ball where the one ball is, and send the one ball back down table. So I think the bank towards the 9 is the... Yeah, so he's calling the 9 ball in case he hits it so precise that the 9 ball goes in as well. But I think he's more trying to find cover, of course. Yeah, that's a good shot. Many ways he could have hit that 9 ball and got away with it, like this, or... So Shane definitely will hit this one ball. Now will he hit it cutting it on the right side and send his cue ball back up table? I think that's the biggest chance of a result. And that will do just fine. Now, did he get the full ball snooker, or did he leave him just a slither of the left side of the one ball? Nope. Ko directly looking at the 1 or 2 rail kick. Yeah, so looking to come off that second rail, but not easy to find, to be able to hold your cue ball and make the 10 ball, 7 ball a wall of balls to hide behind. So he's looking to come off 2 rails and then hit the south side of the one ball. Of course, needs to hit a rail after contact as well. Oh, beauty. That's perfect. And took away the jump shot, you'd imagine. The 7 ball only being a ball's width away. That's a beauty of a shot, especially with a 9-5 lead. Alright, so Shane looking to come off 2 rails in between the, right behind the 3. It's a pretty good hit, but fuller than he'd imagined, so Ko with a chance on the 1, but almost impossible to keep position on the blue 2 here on the bottom of the table. Because his cue ball is going to roll directly into the left side rail, but of course coming off that one ball, it would roll straight back into the center of the table, especially at the speed the one ball needs to find the pocket. And even if you give it extreme left spin, you won't be able to come down table enough. Might even be playing safe. Yeah, it's not often you'd see a pot opportunity and then a player playing safe. He may have shown the one ball here. Yeah. Interesting situation there with a potting opportunity and then seeing a player choose to play safe. Yeah, that 3-6 What to do? I mean, you don't want to be playing the 3-6 combo, but how to get your cue ball kind of in a position where the green 6 is now to shoot the red in the bottom left corner pocket. Yeah. So what to do here? Bank the 3 in the right side pocket, bank it in the top right corner pocket. No automatic position in either case. Play safe again. I mean, that would be quite easy to send your cue ball to the center of the bottom rail here, somewhere near the chalk. I don't think Shane is doing that though. He's looking at the bank. Alright, banked it. Wasn't able to avoid hitting the green 6, and therefore didn't have the position he imagined. Yeah, so what to do on this 4 ball? Right, so Shane with a bit of thinking time. He's made up his mind. Cue ball behind the 9. I mean, I play pretty well for my commentary chair. Definitely not always able to execute what I see. That was pretty good. Now, I think he left the potential, of course. Oh, did he leave the jump shot cut into the side? You can directly hit the 4, but what can you do with it? I don't think he can hit it at the potting angle on the right side. So battle for the 4 ball here for supremacy in game number 15. Whoever gets this right will gain control over the rack. Well, he got the 4 ball right and the cue ball wrong. So now, can either kicking off the right rail, I think the side pocket's slightly in the way. Kicking off the bottom rail, the 10 ball's kind of slightly in the way of it, the natural path. So he's looking at the hit just past the right side pocket. There is a way that he could hit the right side of the 5 after coming off the right rail and then scratch in the bottom right corner pocket. Called it in the left side, just to be sure. Could end up with his cue ball back behind the 9. I mean, that would be an achievement from the position he currently finds himself in. Okay. Shane to the table to reduce his arrears to a 3 rack deficit. That's the best he can play for here. But we all know with Shane, winner break format. Let's see what he can muster, or either player. You know, it'd be lovely to see a few break and runs. Now let me just read you a few of Ko Pin-Yee's achievements. And that would be without the last 2 years, because of what everybody's aware of, why players haven't been able to play. But from 2007, he won the World 9-Ball Junior Championships twice in a row in 2007 and 8. I don't think that's been achieved yet. Then he won the All Japan Championships in 2011. the WPA World Team Championship with Chinese Taipei in 2012 and the US Open 10-ball championships in 2014. As Shane takes care of business in rack 15. Now look at Shane's break for a second while we see if we can get back to run out ways. Never mind that. Scratch. Now that scratch in the side, I mean, when do you ever see Shane do that, really? Alright, so Ko. No problems to speak of whatsoever. Right? Also, because the 2, 3, 4 are nicely the southern part of the table, and the 5, 6, and 8 and 9. Oh, sorry, the 5, 6, 8 are on the north side of the table. So, all right, let me continue with Ko Pin-Yi's achievements because they're quite incredible for players of such a young age. Born in 1989, that means he's only 32 years old. So, I stopped giving you information after 2014. In 2015, he won the Matchroom World Cup of Pool, the World Doubles Championships. Then, he started really becoming very good, because in 2015, he won the WPA World 9-ball Championships and the World 10-ball Championships as well in the same year. Why not? It's kind of like the Wu Cha-Ching 8 and 9-ball world titles, which is a very rare feat. With that, as you may have imagined, he became the Billiards Digest Player of the Year in 2015. In 2016, he won the All Japan Championships again. And in 2017, he won the CBSA International 9-Ball Open, followed a year later by the China Open, one of the other true majors of our sport, or game, if you like to call it that. And then he had a little bit of a break because of a certain pandemic that swept the earth. Alright, so dropped a few titles in Pin-Yi's name while he runs out this rack to take another 4-game lead. Neither player has been able to hit the break very well for more than 1 or 2 racks, and not many runouts to speak of. So race to 17, remember? Nice little challenge, and that really means that you were the better player either that day or that part of the day. You know, need to really show your quality over a longer period of time, not like a race to 8, a race to 7. And that's the length that sometimes is played in World Championships, which I believe is way too short, but never mind my opinions about many things. Alright, so now what here? No clusters on this table. So this, of course you could play the cannon. Hitting the right side of the 1-ball, half ball would almost certainly make the 2-ball drop, although there's still ways that can go wrong. You could also cut the 1-ball into the right side of the 2. And then you would just have to kind of cut the 1-ball as thin as you can on the left side. More importantly, he needs to keep position. So if he plays the cannon, which I think he's doing, is he? Let's see. Yeah. It's a pretty good result, but the 1-ball was never going to come further north up table. So he was never going to have a straighter shot than this, because he knew his cue ball was going to be landing and stopping on the 2-ball. So can he cut this in and avoid hitting the 6? Just surveying the 8-10 combination, I would imagine after the 6-ball, the 8's next, he would leave himself straight on the 6 and draw back for the 8 in the bottom left corner pocket. But he's just, you know, keeping his options open and just seeing what is possible in this rack to win it. Okay, so back in line. Again, if your 6 ball, as opposed to the 5, is not in direct line with it, you'd like to keep a 20 to 40 degree angle on your 5 ball to keep your cue ball maneuverable. And after the 6, the 8 is kind of in line of where the 6 is. You'd like to keep a straight angle, or a straight-ish angle on your 6 ball to draw it straight back for the 8 ball. But not easy to, let's say, draw your cue ball off this 4 ball to the center of table. It's really difficult to draw your cue ball, let's say 5 centimeters, 10, 20. That's a good practice, as I said before in this match. And that's about perfect. So a very doable pot. Just over, or just thicker than half ball pot or more. Keeps your cue ball maneuverable, and you can also still see the pocket in your line of sight. So very nice. Won't be able to draw his cue ball off the rail much, so we'll keep it on the right side rail. So it needs a pretty specific position on the 8 ball, just a bit north of where his cue ball is now, really. And that is no good. Now, just going to shoot the 9 ball in the same pocket as aiming the 8 for now. This cue ball is going to be drifting to the north side of the table after making this 8 and coming off the left side rail. Don't want to get stuck on that rail. I mean, from where he was, this has only gotten worse in this rack. And his cue ball looks likely to brush the 10 ball. And when brushing the 10 ball, you never know if you're going to hit it half ball, 1/10 of a ball. So results may vary. Yeah, and kind of wanting to steer his cue ball past that 10 ball. He hit the 9 ball thinner than he wanted to. Look at the disappointment etched on Shane's face that he has to shoot this 9 ball down the rail. I mean, I don't think it, unless he got, so Shane just pushing the knuckle of the right corner side pocket a little bit back to make sure that doesn't form a little bump for the 9 ball. Should be able to spear this along the right side rail. Nice. Alright, so what a chance for Ko to take a 5-game lead. Now gets pegged back to 3. Alright. 10-7. Shane on the hunt for level peggings. Now that's more like it. Made both balls below the 1 ball in the side pocket. So 3 balls on the break. Oh, 2 balls on the break. That's enough out of 10, isn't it? No clusters. And the main quality required playing from the 2 ball to the 3 ball. So an angle required on the 2 center table, you would imagine. Ooh, that 1 ball trickled in. Slight sigh of relief, at least inside of Shane, I'd imagine. No, yeah, that's not ideal. Because natural cue ball direction would be hitting the top rail to the right of the black ball. Yeah, could then guide his cue ball with a tip of right spin to hit just north of the right side pocket and come further down. Let me see. Might also spin it into the corner. Let's see what he does. Yeah, don't hit that side pocket. Nice. Doesn't want to have too much angle. He's back in line. Should be able to roll this in. Keep a straight position on the 4 ball. So back in control in this rack after a little bumpy ride on the 1-2 ball. Was then able to correct himself straight away on the 3 ball and has never been in trouble since, and actually has been in perfect line since. So that's the true quality of great pool players. You're always going to get out of line sometimes, but then to not increase your troubles but be able to correct your cue ball position and get back into line. Sometimes other players in the world, let's say you get out of line 20 degrees on one shot, then sometimes the next shot you might be out of line 30 degrees, and in the third shot you have a cut shot that is nigh on impossible, and the 4th shot you have a bank shot or something, so you keep getting out of line further. Alright, Shane, broken round 1. Let's see, can he string 2 together? There go the 2 balls below the 1 ball. Now, that's often, much more often going to be the case with a template rack than with a hand rack. And it's a bit hard to create those 2 balls below the 1 ball tracking to the side pockets. But with this template rack, since they're racked so perfectly, it's less of an achievement, I'd say. Alright, so cushion first on the 1 ball. This cue ball is going to be drifting away, and the 2 ball's top right of your table view, so well, let's just try to make this 1 ball first. Second prize. What to do here, what to do here? Because you can cut the 1 ball and you can cut it in. Actually, that might be, you may as well almost, because the safety, the 1 ball, if you cut it, you're going to cut it towards the top left corner pocket. How can you ever get that ball safe? Or how can you find cover behind the 8 or 10? You can't, and that's what he just realized. And therefore, we're going to try to cut this in. Cue ball will avoid hitting the pink 4. We'll just curve around it straight back down to us. And then it will come back north side of the table for position on the 2. It needs to have an angle on the 2, of course, because the 3 ball, unless he wants to bank the 3 in the right side pocket. Anyway, that's future prediction. Let's just watch him cut the paint off of this 1 ball. Yeah, what to do here? I mean, how do you play position for the 3-7 combination? You'd like to be where the green 6 is now, but you're not. That's where the green 6 is. I don't think you want to be bumping the green 6. Would you play position for the bank shot? Might almost be the highest percentage chance of a good result. Could try to break it open, because then you're able to hit the 7 or hit the 3. Yeah, Shane really not feeling that well. He might be feeling great, but he's making quite a few mistakes in the first half of this long set, let's say. And what I've been noticing recently, and of course that's maybe a trait of great players, is that after one mistake they don't necessarily let their game crumble. They can play nigh on perfect for the next 20 minutes thereafter. I think I notice in my own game, if I make one mistake and I kind of lose that perfect playing persona, then sometimes mistakes keep creeping in further, and that's something to work on for my own game, really. So Ko gonna run his cue ball into the brown 7. That would give him automatic ideal position on the pink 4. So looking to take a 3-game lead once more. Now I reeled off results of of Ko Peigney. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown of Shane Van Boning's results. If you have the time, of course. We might not be able to finish before this set finishes, but just some of his notable achievements. As Ko wants to keep like a 30-degree angle on the 7 ball, so he can draw it back down table to the right side of the table for position on the black 8. So Shane, let's just go from, well, Shane was born in 1983, so 38 years he's graced this earth. Born in Rapid City, South Dakota, and well, some of his achievements, I mean there are many. He's played so many tournaments. He's really the one that plays all of the tournaments in America, and in the last 10 years has been basically robbing everybody of a chance to win international tournaments as well. Let's just watch Ko's break, because that needs some improvement. So 2 balls below the 1 ball, tracking to the side. Made 1, and that's good enough, because he's breaking from his left side of the table. The 1 ball, if he hit it full on, will travel to the top left corner pocket. In Shane's case, he's breaking from his right, ever so slightly, right center. The 1 ball travels to the top right corner pocket. Bank on the 1? I doubt it. So Shane, I mean, you know, 1 pocket US champion 2013-17. The Super Billiards Expo Championship he managed to win in 2008, 2010, 12, 13, 14 and 17. The Turning on Classic. So these are regional, national US tournaments. The Turning Stone Classic, he's a major winner of that one. 2011, 13, 17, 18, 19 and 20. And of course, the last 2 years it wasn't held. Of course, probably his most famous wins, the US Opens, which he's managed to win a record equaling 5 times alongside record holder alongside Earl the Pearl Strickland, now one of Shane's true inspirations, I gather. Shane's had various challenge sets against Earl Strickland. Maybe Earl past his prime then and Shane just getting into it, but yeah, the US Open 9-ball championships, and Shane has managed to win in 2007, 12, 13, 14 and 16. So that's 3 years in a row. That's incredible. Considered by many pool players to be the toughest tournament to win, alongside the World 9-ball championships, the US Open. And he's only gone and won it 5 times. Anyway, Ko, with his cue ball, moving away from the green 6 after making this 5-ball. So not ideal yet. Is he going to follow his cue ball around the 8-9? I think so. Nice. Alright, so back in line. So Shane just can't seem to keep control of the table or his break enough to kind of cut the lead. It keeps being Ko 3-4 games ahead, and of course now he'll be breaking, hoping to extend that gap. Game number 21, Ko Ping-yi leads 12-8 over Shane, world 9-ball champion Van Boening. Race to 17. Right, let's watch the 2 balls below the 1. Both bumped the north knuckle of the side pockets. Dry break there with. See, often if you don't make the 2 balls below the 1 ball, you're hoping for a wild ball, so to say. I mean, the 2 and the 3, as I said before, they go 4 rails around the table and come back to the corner pocket that they're racked near in the triangle. But that, of course, a 4-rail path without being kissed is not easy to achieve. So Shane gonna slam this into the side and draw his cue ball into the top rail and come back out. Well, never mind that slamming. Just a nice neat pot. Now, can he roll this in and bring his cue ball to kind of bump into the pink 4? That would give him ideal position on the 3. But of course you don't really want to be bumping balls and possibly hitting them thinner than you thought you might, so I might stop it before that. Alright, that's a nice little path. And a chance for position in the right side pocket or the top right corner pocket. It's kind of in between both. I think he'll shoot it in there. Okay, so he wanted this cue ball to roll a bit further down, as you can see him pointing his cue where he wanted to have ideal position, because now in making the 3 his cue ball is going to run away. If he makes it in the right side pocket, which he will, it's going to run away from him first and needs to bring it back to the pink 4. Wants to be just off straight on the 4, so it's maneuverable to the center of table for the orange 5. And should he clear that little quest, then he should be in control. So this is not enough angle on the 5. So I had to accept that this was the best shot he was going to get on the 5 ball. Alright. Anything else to note in this rack? Nah, basically keep straight position on the 6, because that represents automatic position on the 7. From there on, should be alright. So, are we about to see another? It's kind of been tit for tat in the last 20 minutes of this match. Kind of like a 3-4 game swing, so he wins one, I win one. And neither player able to run out 2 or more racks or keep control, win 2 or 3 racks or more. I mean, there was body movement on that 6 ball, although Shane has that kind of habitually kind of. You will see it more often, and many more times often than not. He will make it with that slight body movement. And it's not like there was extreme pressure on that shot, but yeah. Needed accuracy because the pot was further away than he would have liked. And that all stems from his position from the 2 to the 3. He was never able to get or regain perfect line position. So Ko gonna try to make his cue ball hit the left side of the black. Oh, he's gonna draw it. Shoot the 7 in the left side. That's maybe better. Yeah, so Shane's titles, of course, the US Opens. I think that's one title he wants to win because he hasn't won the Matchroom organized version in the last few years. I mean, only 2 players have. He would love to win that version of the US Open since it's now an even bigger tournament. But of course, he fulfilled his what seemed like an eternal quest to win a World Pool Championship in winning the World 9-Ball Championships held in Milton Keynes in March of 2022, depending on when you're watching this video. If you're watching it in the year 2022, you undoubtedly remember that. Alright, so 5-game lead for Ko Pin-Yi. That hasn't been achieved yet. And will that be insurmountable for Shane Van Boening? I mean, being 13-8 down against Ko Pin-Yi, I think he would win that set most of the time. But then again, you're not facing an opponent like Shane Van Boening. Alright, so made one of the side pocket balls. Didn't hit his 1 ball nicely, that's why it didn't track to the corner pocket, but more to the top side of the table. No realistic pocket available for Ko Pin-Yi. No clusters either, so battle for this 1-2 ball will prove decisive, I'd imagine. Yeah, he's looking to leave his cue ball where he's pointing now and send bank the 1 ball in between the green and the blue, and then possibly behind the 3 ball, the red 3 ball. Doesn't want to leave it hanging over the corner pocket, that's why he's calling that one, but he's not trying to make it there, I can tell you. Yeah, well executed. Now, Shane needs a lot of left spin to take quick time, or else he's going to go wide of this 1 ball. Oh, Shane. Well. I mean, I've been watching Shane quite a lot over the last 3-4 months, and I found his level to be incredibly high in all departments of the game. And in this set, I mean, it may have been what he had for breakfast, but it's just been kind of stringing mistakes together rather than racks. And you'll be able to find that these two players played a second challenge match right after this one. And I would advise you to go check that out on the Billiard Network. It should be somewhere in the top list of your YouTube suggestions on the right side of your screen. If you make this screen smaller than it is now, if you're watching on full screen, that is. And then of course these two players will take part to try to win the tournament title that you see north side of the table, the Predator Bucharest Open. It does seem that in the last year, the world opening back up, the pool players have more to play than ever. More international tournaments. There seems to be a full calendar of Predator sponsored tournaments. We've really got into the tournament game besides, of course, cue makership. Really trying to make a list of international tournaments for players to compete in, all sponsored by Predator, of course, and then also Matchroom increasing their tournaments. Most notable, the UK Open being a new tournament on their roster. Okie dokie. So Ko Pin-Yi 14-8, race to 17, remember, so only 3 games away from a quite fine win. And he hasn't even played that well, hasn't played great. He hasn't broken great and kept control much, but he's played very well, of course. I mean, what mistakes do you remember Ko Pin-Yi making? Yeah, hasn't been able to figure out although he made the 8-ball on the side, hasn't been able to figure out a nice speed and a full hit on the 1-ball. It's kind of been varying speeds, varying cue ball directions that you'll be able to have seen after it leaves the 1-ball. So no pocket for the 1. But quite a few balls to hide behind, so half ball on the right side. And snookering behind the red, brown, pink. Did he leave a gap? I think he did. Then the brief would be to cut it as thin as you can and bring the cue ball back where it is now and kind of leave the 1-ball where it's now. Although he's thinking about it a little bit longer, so he might be seeing either a little bit more of the 1-ball and trying to achieve a different thing. There's a slight elevation in his cue. Is he trying to swerve it and bring the cue ball back down to us a bit more? Trying to get a more decisive snooker. Who doesn't want his 1-ball to... I mean, that's a great result. Both checking if there's a window. Shane doesn't look too chuffed, does he? I mean, can he actually make that 1-ball? I think he can hit it. Well, if he can hit it, he can almost make it, you'd imagine. But yeah, Shane just not hitting the balls with high quality enough. I mean, that one ball leaked out further than he wanted, so he wanted to have just a bit more swerve so he could hit the one ball thinner and leave it on the top short rail. Then he would have never given up a pot. Now he was kind of relying on the 6 and 9 to help him out, and he never wanted his cue ball this close to the bottom right corner pocket, of course. Alright, so that's not Ko Pin-Yi waving the cue at Shane, it's more a little bug flying around that obstructed his concentration somewhat. Alright, so do you think he needs to jump it anyway? That's a long jump, even if he doesn't have to go for the whole of the 6 ball or the whole of the 9 ball. Does need to, of course, come at least half ball height to clear that obstruction. And because the jump is so far, that needs speed. And then, of course, you need your cue ball to stop when it lands after the 6. It needs to land and not be bouncing when it hits the 1 ball, or else one of those balls might leave the table. So that bug still distracting Ko. It's crazy, isn't it? That such a small being can take away your focus. Glad he didn't crush it. I don't think Ko Pin-Yi would be of the personality to crush a bug. Alright, missed the jump shot. Shane back at the table with not much. So what can you do? What would you do here? Of course you can kick off the bottom rail where the chalk is. But if you hit it full ball, your 1 ball is going to travel towards the 6 and the 9. That is a beautiful shot. Purposely hit it a little bit thinner than full ball. That is definitely a snooker, so nice little kick safety by Shane. Ko still busy with the bug. So again, long jump, meaning a lot of speed needed, and wants his cue ball to not still be bouncing when it gets to the 1 ball, or only ever so slightly. Okay, here we go. Enjoy your flight. Cue ball enter cue ball airways. Jump shot by Ko Pin-Yi. Well, he did the jumping, he didn't do the making. Alright, so Shane with a cuttable 1. But of course, this cue ball is going to be running a little bit wild. And that red, pink and brown ball, you need a lot of avoiding to get position on the blue too. Could also bank the 1 towards that pink, red, brown group and stick his cue ball behind the 10 ball. Yeah, it looks like he's hitting the 1 ball thick, so that might be what he's attempting. Now, he'll probably snooker Ko in such a manner that no jump cue would help you out there. And normally you'd come off the right side rail to hit this, but he's so close to the 10 that option is cut off as well. So that's what you'd like to do when you're playing safe. Bring your cue ball that close, A, to not leave a jumpable shot, and B, to cut out the natural escape routes. So now Ko has to use 2 rails to get out of this, and this is not an easy angle to hit the ball, but I think he will. Good little escape. Of course, a makeable 1 ball, but his cue ball is going to be traveling towards the green 6, which en route keep him being snookered behind the pink 4. I mean, do you want to jack up and make this ball and draw it back below the 7 ball? Not really. I mean, you don't really want to be keeping playing safe when you have a full view of the object ball, but Shane might be forced to here. Remember, 6 games down and race to 17. 17 used to be the race length in the World 9-Ball Championship Finals when it was first organized by Matchroom in Cardiff at the beginning of the 2000 or 1999 even, I believe. Ooh, won't be happy with this. And now kind of co-facing the same shot that Shane had 2 innings ago, but I think this time his cue ball, of course the 3 ball's no longer there, so that pink and brown ball still could form a potential snooker on the 2, but there's more room to work with than there was before. So cutting this in would naturally drift this cue ball towards the right top corner pocket, right side pocket. So probably needs to guide it right in between those 2 pockets on the right north side of the right rail. And then come back off the top rail for position on the 2. Now the red 3 doesn't have the side pocket. Ooh, careful. Oh, just like he played it like that. Exactly, put his hand up in apology. I mean, had he missed the knuckle, then he would have had great position. But of course, now that he hit the knuckle, there were quite a few ways he could have been snookered. So I don't know if this red ball goes into the left side pocket. We'll see how he plays position on it to see if it will go or not. So the Billiard Network and myself, we're going to be bringing you lots of world-class pool matches in the coming months. We've got a lot of challenge matches on video, let's say. Is it still called video? But we're going to be bringing that to you. Challenge matches, amazing tournament matches, as you may know, because I have already mentioned it. We also have a whole section of final rack deciders in matches, which of course is very exciting to have 2 players battle it out in one final game for the win in a set or sometimes a tournament final, while Co is back in line to run this out. So do check out the Billiard Network library. We've got tons of great pool action for you from all sides of this earth. All right, center table position on the green 6, you'd imagine, to be able to leave himself fairly straight on the brown 7. I mean, this could be potential 15 games to 8 lead. That would essentially mean that Co wins 2 out of 3 racks, and that is, against Shane playing 10-ball winner breaks. Not many people have been able to do that. And of course caused by Shane's display of numerous errors, but also caused by Co picking up the pieces and not being dragged down by Shane's, slightly lower level at this part of the day. Do remember, they played another challenge match, which we've also got for you on the Billiard Network. Do check that out. Amazing video that is. Okay, 15 to 8. Ko Pin-Yi over Shane Van Boening, race to 17. Needs 2 more. Will he let Shane back to the table? Will he run out the next 2? Will Shane win the next rack somehow and run a few? Good hit that was by Ko. This time did make one of the side pocket balls. And of course, keeping your cue ball in that area of the table, I mean, you would have a shot on all balls on the table, as you can see. So that's what you're trying to achieve. Center table position with your cue ball. Although it might still, you might sometimes land it there, and of course you're whacking 10 balls around the table, so it might still get kicked away, but that's what you're essentially aiming for. And this is a primary example of a great center table position in which you'll be able to shoot, or have the highest chance of being able to shoot, the lowest number ball left on the table. Well, this. Now let's see if he can keep his cue ball in line. You'd imagine everything going textbook here. So straight on the 4 to draw it back ever so slightly for the 6. 6 gives you automatic position on the 8. Would like to have an angle on the 8 ball position, kind of where the 6 ball is now, to make it maneuverable around the table to get close to the 9 ball. But let's see if that all pans out that way. Now Ko, I've heard, is playing with a Zen pool cue, which is worth around $30,000. There you go. And that is achieved by the amazing detailed inlays he's got in there. It's impossible to see from this position, but yeah, it's really beautiful cue he's playing with. Shane Van Boening, of course, has been sponsored by Q-Tech for at least the last decade or so. Has been a proud player representative and followed Earl Strickland, of course, who was sponsored by Q-Tech. Yeah, nice little tempo run out this by Ko Pin-Yi. 16 games to 8. Exactly winning 2/3 of the games at the moment. I mean, that is a real rarity, because sometimes, let's say, if you've had the challenge matches you may be aware of between Shane and Dennis Urcolo, where eventually they end up 100 in a race to 129 ball. They end up 119 games apiece and have to play a final rack decider, you know, or you might beat somebody 120 to 100 to 100. You know, then you're still only winning, what is it, 6 games for what your opponent wins 5 games. So it's very hard to, even if you're winning, to make a difference the way Ko has been able to make in this set, at least. All right. So Ko, one more game required. And he's actually been breaking better in the last few racks. So looking to make the 8 ball left side pocket, otherwise the 9 ball on the right side pocket. Watch the 2 and the 3 track 4 rails around the table back to the pockets that they're near now. Okay, both got kissed. Never mind my predictions. Dry break by Ko. He's had a few in this match. Well, left a cut for Shane. Cue ball will be coming back towards the 9 ball red ball, so he needs to avoid those, so he needs to maybe add a touch of right spin that would bring his cue ball back to where it is now, but he might hit the orange 5. He might even play safe. I did call that one. left it hanging. Did hit the orange as I kind of predicted he could. Don't know if Ko can make this ball at all, even with swerving it. So no clusters on the table, so battle for the one ball for this 25th game supremacy. Get position on the 2 and you should be able to keep control and win this rack. So big swerve here, big elevation. So Shane with a better look on any ball than he's had in the last 10 minutes or so. Four to the 5, so pink to orange. Far from straightforward. Could leave his cue ball straight in this, so roll just a ball's width further than where the 3 ball is now to draw his cue ball off the pink towards the left bottom side of the table. Alright, didn't opt to do that. Kept his 20 to 40 degree angle. He's going to make his cue ball travel around the table. Needs to avoid the 8 ball, I'd imagine, on it en route back down. Nice shot there. Maybe a bit straighter than he would have liked. Elevate and draw his cue ball back into the left side rail and back out. Nice shot that was. Shows Shane on an amazing run of form. Of course, winning the World 9-Ball Championships 2 months prior to this challenge match in 2022. Oh, why do I keep talking about him like he's a godlike pool player and then he misses straight in 8-ball? What's happening in this hour to Shane? Anyway, never mind. On an amazing run of form, because I can tell you after this he will have traveled to the UK Open, first ever UK Open Pool Championships, 256 players playing 9-ball, although it is 1 ball on the spot template rack, so easier to make a ball, but I can tell you that he would at least get to the semi-finals in that tournament following this Predator Bucharest Open. Nice cut shot by Ko, but far from ideal position on the 9-ball. So Ko in an amazing, Shane on an amazing run, really, through world-class fields. It's so hard to make the difference, especially with the format of fairly short races, sometimes alternate breaks, sometimes winner breaks. Thumped that into the top rail. So that would have been the win for Ko. And what a nice 17-8 win it would have been. Now, can Shane... I mean, if anybody in the world can come back and win this match without letting Ko to the table much, it is Shane van Boening. But first things first, this 9-ball cut into the top left. Ooh, almost overcut it. Shane didn't want to be hampered or distracted by the template that the 10-ball was still laying on, so removed that one after agreement with Ko. this half ball 10 ball for a 16-9 score, and the comeback is still on. Okay, game 26 out of a maximum of 33 games in this race to 17. Shane trying to make the 9 ball left side, 6 ball right side. Made the 6, perfect cue ball position. Nice. And that wasn't even such a hard break, was it? It wasn't like a lot of violence. Like Ko's body movement on the break is a lot wilder. Shane's got such a like calm body, but just a really quick cue movement and acceleration. It must be from his final backswing going forward. He's able to generate so much cue ball speed without having much body movement. I guess you would say it's easier to replicate Shane's break, where it's got less moving parts, literally, to be able to have to control. So, thing of note, the orange 5, is that stuck against the 10 ball, or is it makeable? I think I can't really see a pocket for it. So then would like to keep about a half ball shot on the red 3, after which either angle he keeps on the 3 would be able to bring his cue ball towards that cluster and open it up. If he opens it up, he would have automatic position on the pink 4, of course. So that's why it's a good time potentially now to try to open up that cluster if it needs opening. I might have it all wrong and the 5 might be clear to go. Speaking of comebacks, of course Shane needing one here, but I think he needed one, as you may remember, in the World 9-Ball Championships 2022 versus Mika Immonen in the round of last 16, I believe it was, where Immonen played lights out. Amazing offensive pool to lead Shane 10 racks to 3, race to 11, and without much of Immonen's interference or his presence back at the table, Shane was able to turn that match around and take it 11 racks to 10. That was an amazing comeback. Amazing match by both players. So, Shane definitely capable, but sometimes you need to be able to create the opportunity, and sometimes you might need a roll of a ball here and there that gives you the opportunity. But let's see. Okay, so the 5 ball must be clear to go in maybe the bottom left corner pocket. Maybe not, or else he would have played it by now, you'd imagine. Alright, so maybe looking, could bank the 5 in the left side pocket. Of course, his cue ball would need quite a different position than where it is now, and especially after leaving the pink 4. Needs a lot of directing towards a good position, so not easy in this position you're in now to get somewhat of a shot on the 5 ball, either to bank it or to play safe. It's a nice little route he took, but hard to do that, although in doing so he's now got the bank on the 5. That would be a nice game win if he can take this. Because he came close to opening up that cluster, didn't he? That would have been a great shot. Zip. Wow. Shane, a great banker of the ball. Of course, a game much more famous in America than anywhere else in the world, the game of bank pool. Okay, so Shane on his way to getting into double figures in this set. He would have imagined hitting the 10 mark a bit sooner than this, though, I'd imagine. Ko, remember, only 1 game away from a challenge match win against the world 9-ball champion. Rico himself being a former World 9 and 10 ball champion. So this is really a challenge match between two pool grandmasters. Okay. Let's see if Shane can make one or more on the break and get position. Beautiful cue ball. Alright, what looked like maybe not making a ball, he made 3 in the last 2 seconds of that breaking timing. Wow, amazing. That's what Shane does though, isn't it? I mean, either makes the one below the sides or the 4 rails corner ball of the rack back down in the left and right side pocket, or he has a chance to make wild balls sheerly because of the speed he generates in the balls. So they move around just that bit longer in their attempt to find gravity. And then you can really see the power of the Shane game. I mean, the previous game had that cluster to open up, almost did so with that zigzag shot, then slammed in the bank shot, proceeded to run that rack without any problems, and then this next break so dominant, you know, it looked like maybe not making any balls and then still making 3 balls, but having perfect position sheer because of the cue ball being in the center of the table. This really, to me, pool poetry in motion, the Shane Van Boening run-out game. That is not enough angle to work with. Wow, that is very straight. Shane's smiling. Taking off his extension. Wow, it looks like he's playing with a jump cue all of a sudden, isn't it? It's crazy. Alright, that's about as good as he could do, and it's a pretty good result. Yeah, so many of the pool players in the world, I think, firstly, it was Earl Strickland playing with an extension on his cue. Not just for reaching a ball that was placed beyond stretching reach, but keeping it on your cue, just for that apparently more weight in the cue, which, of course, would make you move your cue ball around the table with an easier way. This 10 ball, 16-11. Nice. Okay. So Shane with a 5-minute period of total table control, looking for his second break and run out in a row, looking for a ball on the break if anything. There goes the 2 ball 4 rails, and that's then in the end the only ball he made. But no clusters. This cut on the 1 with a tip of right spin would automatically bring his cue ball back down just below the yellow 9 ball and the green 6 ball, and that would clear him for navigating the rest of this rack. So this key shot in this rack, of course the key shot is always the one you're currently shooting, but this one far from a foregone conclusion. 16-11, looking to take it back to 16-12 in a race to 17 challenge game. Opted to play safe. Well, it's not really a result though. The 1 ball not coming to the left side of the table far enough, so probably overcut that ball. Rico can hit the right side, and that would bring his cue ball back to where it is now, thereabouts. And of course, he himself would have the brown 7, black 8, green 6, 9 ball to form a wall of blocking balls. Let's see how he fares. I mean, you could also hit this still and scratch in the top right corner pocket if you hit it too thick. Yeah, but this brown, black, and green not helping. May have actually left, or will have definitely left some kind of hit in the one ball. Will have left the potting angle, so needs to hit the right half of the one ball to be able to make it. Alright, that will do just fine. Of course, if you are still enjoying watching this video, then we would love to see your appreciation. Could you help us out by pressing the like button? You could also save this to your library of pool videos in your own YouTube library. You could also share this link if you'd like and let your friends watch this amazing challenge match. Well, Shane is looking to get his 12th game on the board, and he would then need, well, a mere 5 more games to win this challenge match. Right, so Shane Van Boening, 3 more balls away from taking his 3rd game in a row. Is this now it? Sorry, I've lost count, people. Really glad you're joining us, though, in this challenge match. Once more, my name is Rico Diks, a former pro pool player and one of the commentators for the Billiard Network. Remember, we also have Earl the Pearl Strickland commentating on a seriously good amount of 9-ball matches. Go check that out in the library. Alright, Shane looking for a ball. And he's breaking better and better in this set. Careful, cue ball. That kissed both jaws of the top right corner pocket. Now, is he able to see anything of this blue 2? Besides that, no clusters, only the 6 ball needing a particular position. Push out by Shane, haven't seen that for a while. So jump shot available. Could also kick at this off the left side rail and then hit the north side of the 2 ball to send the 2 ball back down towards us and leave the cue ball on the north side of the table. Calling that kick shot in the right side pocket. You may as well, it's a call shot game, so no flukes allowed, but he is trying to hit the north side of the 2, if anything, so full ball hit or a tiny bit on his right side of the 2 ball from where he's looking. Looking to get a separation. Well, first of all the hit, then he would like to get separation, and if he could get cover behind any other object ball, that would be a result. Wow. Called the ball, but still apologized for making it. I don't know. I'm not sure if I would. Alright. So Ko with very tiny positional field allowed on the pink 4 would almost need to be just north of the green 6, or center table would give him position. I think that might be more achievable. Alright, here we go. Quite an important shot in this challenge match. Will he give Shane another chance? Ooh, rail first. I mean, that's not a lot of rotations where he would have been a happy chappy. And I was able to hit this 4 ball, but I don't think at the desired potting angle. Oh, he is. Wow, that'd be quite... Yeah, looks like he's able to make the 4. Wow, great shot by Ko, I'd say then. So once positioned on the green 6, and that's what he's working towards now. In this instance, any kind of 10, 20 or 0 degree straight shot on the orange 5 would work, because then he could draw his cue ball back. Now he's going to come off the top rail and spin his cue ball and really try to land it as close as possible to the left side rail. Okay. Ko pointing where he'd like position on the 7 ball, so probably accepting a bit more angle on the 7. So he's going to stun follow it through, try to get his cue ball to turn right a little bit. Left from where he's looking. Anything off the rail will do. Nice. So Ko 4 balls away from taking this challenge game. Yeah, Ko's simply been the player with fewer mistakes. I mean, Shane's display in the last 10 minutes was good and dominant and breaking well, but it's just made too many positional errors and a few too many misses. So these last 2 balls for Ko for a final nail in the coffin in this challenge match anyway. 10 ball for a pretty famous 17-12 win over Shane Van Boening. 10 ball down. A nice little chuckle between the 2 players. Great to see the sportsmanship, you know, not a personal rivalry, mere sporting rivalry, and just about to lag for set number 2.
Take 15 minutes break and play out. I gotta give you 1,000, so I can give you now $1,000, like 850 euros. Okay. I mean, I'll pay you. Da.
joacă încă un set primul la 13, 10 minute. So, there's going to be a rematch, weight to 20 in about 10 minutes.